And by the way, a relationship is not buying them lunch and taking them to a sporting event and giving them company swag. That's not building a relationship. A relationship is this. What are 3 things you know about these people personally and professionally? What not-for-profit organizations do they support? What are their hobbies? If they have kids, what are their kids' names? What's their birthdays? What are their goals, initiatives, dreams, aspirations? Where do they see themselves 3 months from now? Where do they see their business 12 months from now?
Welcome to the Sales Problem Podcast, where we talk everything sales, success, and personal growth. Thanks for joining us. Let's get growing. Welcome back to the Sales Problem Podcast, and welcome to Season 4, Episode number 1. Today, we are kicking off a brand new season, and here is what we're going to give you today. Are you an empty suit? Do you blend in with every other salesperson on your team? Or do you sell with heart? Do you sell with authenticity? And do you sell with true professionalism? Well, today we have Larry Levine on the show who's going to give us the blueprint to becoming a better version of ourselves when we sell. And we have new things planned for Season 4, so stay tuned. I'm your host, Daniel Burns, and joining me is my co-host, the man who cranks out cold calls, the man who cranks out closed deals, and the man who cranks out podcasts with me every month. He's none other than Steve Comerford. Steve, can you believe that we are in Season 4?
No,
and
I
can
can't.
you believe that we're listened to now in over 37 countries around the globe? What's going on?
I don't know, but that cousin of yours that keeps listening in all the countries that he keeps traveling to, he's our guy. I love that guy. No, Dan, I can't believe it. 4th season, we had no idea what we were getting into. We had no idea how the script was going to go. We talked over each other at the beginning, but in that time frame, we've had 30 different interviews, full cast of characters, but it's been so interesting. It's so much, I don't know, maybe I'm taking a little bit of pride in it, but it's so much nicer than hearing the nonsense that's going on in the rest of the, 4 corners of the world, to just have a nice conversation, talk about some positive growth, personal growth, a little bit of sales tips here and there, just some good stuff that can help you tomorrow. I've enjoyed it. I like hanging out with you. You keep me well groomed in hair tips and everything else. So I enjoy it. And I just like keep adding to the chili. It's just little ingredients here and there, just makes a better pot of chili. And I love just making it happen and having some fun. So that's what's going on. Season 4. I still can't believe it.
Speaking of chili, Steve, have you got anything in your cup? Are you cranking today?
I am cranking today. I got to go back to the morning glory. Larry, it's just the two of us drinking coffee all the time. That's what we do. I've got my little sales problem mug, sipping on some coffee just to keep the day going. I like that. What about you?
I am cranked up today, Steve. So just a reminder to all our listeners, I grabbed my Sales Problem Podcast mug, filled it with crank coffee. Today, I'm drinking Crank It Up because it's Season 4 and it is time to crank it up. And I also polished off a Mama T's cookie before the show started.
You like
Steve,
those cookies, eh?
21 grams
Boom.
of protein for all you weekend warriors, all you muscle heads that are on the road trying to stay in shape and be healthy. Go visit our 2 podcast partners, Crank Coffee and Mama T's. Their link is in the show notes. All you have to do is put in the Sales Problem 15. You're going to get 15% off your order, and these 2 great products are going to come straight to your door. Steve, that is the business. Are you ready to start solving the sales problem?
Let's keep this train going.
All right, let's go. Listeners, I'm excited for today because we have Larry Levine on the show. And let me tell you why we brought him on. And before I get into the bio, here's how it all started. Simon Harris came on our podcast in season 3. I think it was episode 9. And Simon dropped his name. We had seen him on Larry's podcast, Selling from the Heart. Go check out that podcast. But Simon mentioned his book. So, of course, somebody gives me a tip. I'm going to follow up on it. I go get the book. Here it is in my hands. I'm halfway through it. And my God, this thing is speaking to me. I mean, it is absolutely in line with everything on the Sales Problem podcast, which is how to be a true sales professional. So we said, hey, I wonder if we could get Larry to come on the podcast to kick off season 4. And sure enough, he said yes. So let me get to introducing Larry. Larry Levine is the best-selling author of 2 books, Selling from the Heart and Selling in a Post-Trust World. He is also the co-host of the award-winning Selling from the Heart podcast. Listeners, you got to check that one out. Blending a heart of service with over 3 decades of in-the-field experience, Larry helps sales professionals develop a mindset and a skill set for authentic success. In a post-trust sales world, Larry helps sales teams leverage the power of authenticity to grow revenue and grow themselves. And that's what the sales problem is all about. Grow your sales, grow yourself. And he enhances the lives of his clients. Larry has coached sales professionals across the world, from tenured reps to new millennials that are entering the sales force. And they all appreciate his style of practical, real, relevant, relatable, and street-savvy coaching. Larry believes people would rather do business with a sales professional who sells from the heart as opposed to a sales rep who is an empty suit. Larry, welcome to our show. We're so excited to kick off season 4 with you. Are you ready to help us solve the sales problem?
Heck yeah. I've been waiting for this. I guess we got to crank it up. So if I had a cup of crank, which I've never heard, but I got to try this stuff. I'd be probably talking a mile a minute.
That's just like us. We're cranked and ready to go here.
Oh, we're gonna have a great time. I promise you, we will have a great time.
All right. So I promised some new things for season 4 and season 3, Larry. We would throw all of our guests on the elevator. We would do an elevator pitch, but we're not going to do that for season 4. We're going to throw you this season into the kitchen. We're going to get things cooking with a brand new segment for season 4. Larry, can you share with our audience your recipe for success? Just a few, 2 or 3 key ingredients that if we mix them into the bowl, we could create a secret sauce for how people can become sales superstars. Larry, do you smell what we're cooking here on the Sales Problem podcast? Can you share your recipe? I know it's secret.
Oh no! This is good. This is good stuff, and I like the segue because I'm a massive believer, and I've said this over and over again. We all have a secret sauce. Every single one of us has a secret sauce. It's just we got to go inside to find out what that secret sauce is. So I'm going to answer your question, but will you allow me to share a quick story?
Absolutely, love it.
So my secret sauce, I'm a hot sauce junkie. I love hot sauce. Hotter the better. But it just happens to be my 3 favorite sauces. Now this is, you got a global audience, so these names may or may not ring true to anybody, but y'all can Google these things. So my favorite hot sauces are Tony Chachere's, Sriracha, and Frank's Red Hot Sauce. And there's a slow, and I literally, these things are in the kitchen cabinet, they're in the refrigerator, they're all over the place. But my all-time favorite is Frank's Red Hot Sauce, and I will buy these by the cases. Because if y'all know the slogan with Frank's Red Hot Sauce, I'm not going to say it, but the slogan behind Frank's Red Hot Sauce is I put that blank on everything. Now, you can Google search it, you can fill in the blank with the word once you find it on the internet. There's a point behind all of this. is we have to find what our sauce is. That secret sauce, that hot sauce. You got to unpack it and you got to marinate with it. And I believe this, if you want to avoid becoming an empty suit, and I talk about it in chapter 10 of Selling from the Heart, there's 3 things I'm going to ask everyone to think through as they put this in their sales mixing bowl. You must educate. You must educate people and over-educate people and bring insights and bring ideas. So in order to educate, you must become educated, which means you got to be on a constant quest to learn. You got to wake up every day with a learn-it-all mindset as opposed to a know-it-all mindset. So once you start thinking about what can I do to educate, the next thing that you're going to do in mixing this all in the sales bowl is you're going to start engaging. And what I mean by engaging, it's not what a lot of salespeople think engaging is, which are the words that grate on me. I'm checking in. I'm touching base. Can I help you with anything? It's been a while since I've seen you. What can I do? And now I'm being silly with this, but it does play out. I'm all about helping. But if you haven't seen anyone for such a long time, I don't think you've earned the right to really say, hey, Joe, hey, Mary, can I help you? And they're going, who are you? I haven't seen you. So you got to educate. You got to engage. Here's the last part. And this is the secret sauce part of this. You got to excite. You got to excite your clients, your future clients into conversations with you. And what I mean by excite, guys, is you got to bring passion. You got to bring purpose to the forefront. And if you're not excited about what you do, I don't think your clients or future clients will even get excited into continuing to do business with you. I believe these are simple things in the sales mixing bowl, but they're hard with discipline and consistency to put forth. So I want everyone to think about, you got to educate like none other. Out-educate, out-engage, and out-excite. Those are my 3 ingredients plus my Frank's Red Hot sauce. And I'm telling you, if you can do that and double down on it, watch what starts to happen to your revenue, profits, client retention, and referrals.
I love the recipe, Larry. We've got educate, engage, and excite. And what came up for me on that last one is that saying sales is a transfer of emotion. And if you're not excited, if you're not passionate, then that emotion's not going to come out. You're not going to transfer anything. Larry, I love that. You're spicing it up here on the Sales Problem podcast already.
Well, you know, here's what's in. I just got to throw this out here. Here's what's interesting, and I want to go back to this excitement part of this. Is sales is a noble profession. It always I believe it always has been a noble profession. Just somewhere down the road, this thing's gone awry. But I do know this. I can't scientifically prove it, but I know it's out there, and it's everyone's sixth sense. And in the world full of skepticism, in the world full of BS, everyone's sixth sense is just really sky high right now. And they can sense the little things. The little things in, how are you making me feel? Are you listening to me? Do you got my best interests at heart? Do you got my back? And that comes through in your body language. That comes through in your tonality. That comes through in voicemail messages. That comes through in how you talk on the phone. That comes through in your virtual calls. This all plays out. And if you're not excited, if you're not bringing a level of passion behind what you do, there's nobody's going to get on your sales train.
Like the comments, Larry. I'm glad I brought up the chili because I put a whole pile of sriracha in that the other night. Made a big pot of chili, and love Frank's too. I don't have Frank's in the. I gotta get some Frank's. I liked your comment around, "Hey, it's been a while. Can I help?" Far too many people do that. I love the comment. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but is coming back with a, "I was thinking of you." I find that kind of hits the mark a lot, where the client comes back and says, "Oh, really? You have?" And then you kind of lean in with something exciting that you had thought of or you brought to the table that they would be interested in. I think that kind of shifts the conversation a little bit. I don't know what you think on that one.
There's a reason why I bring this up, and I'm getting ready to say something, and it's not to disrespect, and I want to preface this. It's not to disrespect the sales world by no means. It's to prove a point. Only because I've seen it. I've just seen it in the sales bullpens that I've been in, and I write about it in Selling from the Heart, and I write about it in Selling in a Post-Trust World. Is you have to, and you must continually communicate and get to know your clients. And let's just think through this together for just a moment. For all of those who have a significant other, someone special in their life, and y'all know where I'm going with this. If you went every 60 to 90 days between communication, would y'all still be in a relationship? Yes or no?
No.
No. I mean, we know that answer. As silly as that is, this is reality, folks, in sales. You cannot build a trusted relationship. You cannot grow sales. You cannot increase your profitability. You can't grab referrals if you only see your clients and communicate with them every 2 to 3 to 4 months. Absolutely impossible, yet this goes on day in and day out. And then salespeople wonder why when they go back in, they get the responses that they get. Salespeople, you have trained your customers in how to interact with you. If you don't take the time to get to know them and bring consistency to the forefront in how you communicate with them, then don't be surprised when all of a sudden they've looked somewhere else. And the next time you go back, they're dealing with a sales professional and not a sales rep. That being you.
Mm-hmm. Hey, which brings up an interesting question, Larry. Well, it's a two-parter, I think. Is it, from your perspective, over the last 10 years, have things changed at all? Is it a different environment, different sales environment? And how has it changed, or how hasn't it changed?
I think what's changed is, again, my thoughts on this, guys, is I think that customers or clients, and I'm using both those words because some prefer to use one over the other. I love the word clients because clients seek advice and customers buy things. So I'd much rather be the one that people are coming to for advice than buying things. But they're asking more and more and more of salespeople now than ever before.
Okay.
And I think the reason why, and again, you can drown yourself in the internet and you can look at all the stats that are out there and say, well, 57% of this, or 63% of these people, or 86% of these people, or 71% of these people don't want to talk to salespeople. And that's possibly what's changed over the years. Quite possibly because they don't want to deal with a sales rep. They want to deal with a sales professional. So I think the things that have changed are actually for the better.
So it's really separated. It's really separated it. Okay, got it.
I think there's a monumental gap. And there's a monumental, until somebody can prove me wrong on this, there is a monumental gap between sales professionals and sales reps. That's what's changed over the last decade. I think your clients or customers, they don't want to deal with any of the stuff that's going on anymore. That's why they don't want to talk to people. If we can reverse this,
go ahead.
What's that?
No, they just prefer almost just to buy it online.
If you're in that type of situation, if you're in that type of transactional type situation, you'll always be replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's someone's always going to come by with a transactional speak that's better than you. They're going to carry themselves in a better transactional way than you. But if you can flip the switch on this and learn how to transform your speak, learn how to transform how you relate to somebody, how you connect to somebody, you will find yourself irreplaceable. And so I think there's a huge gap. And if people can just realize this and just flip the narrative, I always ask people this: how do y'all want to be viewed in sales? It's a simple question. And you hear all the positivities and how they'd like to be viewed. But then how are most people viewed? Most salespeople, Then they'll go through all the laundry list of all the things. Well, I think that's what's changed over the last 10 years is people's tolerance for non-professionalism is at sky high. They expect the worst from salespeople. And it doesn't have to be that way. And my apologies that I'm being direct with this, but I see it. I see it in all the channels that I play in with coaching and bringing selling from the heart to the forefront is the more shenanigans that are out there, the wider the gap becomes. And people just aren't going to tolerate it anymore. And if you could just learn how to flip the mental switch and say, you know what? I'm responsible for how I show up. I can't be responsible for all the other negativity and how all the other salespeople are viewed. But what I can do is I can close the gap and the perception of that person that I'm working with by just acting as a professional and showing that I care.
Love it. And so if I were to speed up 10 years, I'll be nicely retired. But what does sales look like in 10 years' time? Is it even a wider gap between that sales rep and sales professional, or is there a different landscape or environment?
Oh boy,
these very deep questions, Larry.
No, it's a good question, but I got to figure out how I'm going to say this without upsetting a vast majority of people that are out there.
No apology needed.
I think okay, then fine. I'm just going to go for it. Is it okay? I'm just going to go for it.
Give her.
So
with hot sauce.
Oh boy. If we fast forward, so here we are, we're kind of pushing, we're knocking on 2025. So we're at the tail end of, here we are, we're almost done with 24. Let's fast forward. We'll put our thinking caps on. This is Larry Levine's thinking cap about what's going to happen. Here we are, 2034. There's going to be more tech. People are going to be talking about the 25th rendition of AI. They're going to be talking about all the technological advancements that put salespeople in front of people faster. I think they're going to be talking about the same thing, just times 10. But I think what I don't think there's going to be enough of 10 years from now is people talking about heart, authenticity, care. And it's why the subtitle of Selling in a Post-Trust World, I believe, is so true. It's discover the soft skills that will yield hard dollars. But unfortunately, we live in this tech-driven, AI-driven world. I get it. It's the world that we live in. It's not going away. It's probably only going to get worse. But if you want to stand out light years ahead of everybody else, push yourself in front of technology, leverage technology to become better, but learn how to be a human in a technology-driven world. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are inhuman in a technology-driven world. But I think in 10 years from now, I don't know. I don't even know what's going to happen 6 months from now. But if I had to just crystal ball this 10 years from now, I guarantee you they're talking about the same thing they're talking about right now. It's just someone's come out of right field and delivered it a little bit better. And there's some whiz-bang tech scientist who does a spin on all of this. And then everyone just hops on the gravy train on this like they're hopping on it right now.
Yeah, it seems to me that you have to embrace the technology as it evolves, and there's other tools that are able to help you in your profession. But it still boils back down to you and the person in front of you. It's still the relationship. It's still the building of trust. It's still the connection that you need to make with that other person on the other side.
Absolutely. And you just brought up the R word that's near and dear to me, and that's relationships. And I don't see enough of this. This is what I don't see enough of. And it's two things. We're in the people business and we're in the relationship building business if you're in sales. Yet those are the two things that salespeople lack training and coaching in the most. Here's what I know. Humans are messy. Relationships are messy. Yet, for all the sales leaders and executives that are watching this wonderful podcast, what are you doing as executives to coach and train your salespeople on the people skills and relationship building skills needed to drive profits and revenue in a world that does not trust salespeople, nor do they think they're credible. And I want us all to stop and think about that for a moment. We do so much product training. I get it. Check. We do so much objection handling, coaching and training. I get it. Check. We do so much discovery training and coaching. I get it. Check that one off the box. But yet we just think that we're humans. We understand the people skills and relationship building skills. And I'm here to tell you this. Salespeople stink at it. They stink at it.
What really came up for me, Larry, is thinking about the sales reps that say, I got into sales because I've got that gift of gab.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that just talk at people incessantly and don't create the relationship. Yeah.
So here's what's in, and I've played this one out, guys. I've done this a gazillion times, and I love saying it. I love sitting in a room. I love sitting in a room full of salespeople. Nothing lights my fire more. I just came back from being on the road, and I was in a room full of salespeople, just shirt sleeves rolled up, exercise on paper, pen to paper, no laptops on, pen to paper, interaction, things like that. That lights my fire. That's old school, but what's forever old is forever new. Stuff works. And so it's always going to be it's going to be the grizzly tenured veteran who will say this. And it's always about relationships. You know what, Larry? I got great relationships with my clients. I get what you're saying. I got great relationships with them. I said, okay. I have no doubt, right, that you have great relationships. But I got a favor to ask. I'm going to pick up my phone. You're going to give me your best client. You're going to give me their name, and you're going to give me their phone number. And I'm going to call them. In fact, I'm going to put them on speakerphone. And I'm going to ask them, hey, you know what? So-and-so just gave me your name and phone number, and I'll share with them a little bit about what I do. Can you please describe to me this great relationship that you have with this person over at ... Crickets. They won't cough it up. There's a point behind this. And this is why we have to bring relationships front and center. I always say real relationships drive real revenue. Real meaningful relationships drive real meaningful revenue and real meaningful profits and real meaningful sustainability. We got to coach to relationships and how to build these relationships. Here's what concerns me. And if I'm a sales leader out there, I'm just getting laser focused on what I'm about ready to drop. And it's this. The relationships that your salespeople have right now, that they come back to the office, whether that's face-to-face or the virtual office, when they come back to you and say, you know what, this relationship's rock solid. This relationship's not going anywhere. They're always going to buy from us. Is that the relationship that your customers believe the relationship really is? Now, this is a mirror moment. And I'm saying this because I care deeply about the sales profession. Relationships require intentionality. Relationships require practice. They require commitment. They require care, harmony, passion for all of this. They don't just develop and they don't just grow on their own. And so that's what I want people to think about. And Steve, when I heard relationships, it's just like, sorry, I just went off on this tangent, but we really got to key in on this because everybody in sales, I don't care where you're at in the world. If you spend any amount of time in sales, you will say relationships matter. Relationships mean something. Then what the heck are you doing to coach yourself on how to build these relationships? There's an awful lot of assumption going on. And when we assume we know what happens, just a thought.
Well, I want to stay on this track, Larry, because it's season 4, and I think you're the perfect guest to keep kind of drilling down on this. I mean, we are living now in a self-serve economy. So more than ever, we've got ways for our great relationships, our great customers to sometimes bypass us and go straight to companies. They want to press an app. They want to do it all themselves rather than talk to a salesperson. And I think one thing that I've heard more than ever from salespeople, so I'm thinking our listeners might have this on their mind, there's a little bit of fear saying in that type of world and with a new generation of buyers, is there going to be a day where salespeople aren't really needed to provide growth for companies, and we're just going to go with AI generated things or apps to buy through? Is there some world where that you think might happen?
I think you're speaking some truth there to some degree. But again, where I see a lot of what you just said play out, let's just go back to the word transaction for a moment. In a lot of these transactional type situations, I believe salespeople will be replaced. I really do.
Yeah.
However, there's a whole nother world out there that does not thrive on apps. And they do leverage technology, but not to the extent that a lot of other channels are in. What's really interesting about this is I don't believe salespeople will always be around. There may not be as many. They'll always be around. Because once that, for like most of the retail stuff, do you need salespeople for? I'm going to submit you probably don't. Thus, that's why you're seeing what's happening in the retail world and things like that. But I think the more sophisticated something becomes, it's going to require a level of expertise. You're going to have to interact with salespeople. You really are. I can't see, and again, crystal ball here. I can't see some company, and I'm sure it's out there. Someone's probably going to listen to this and say, you know what? I know somebody who just did this. I can't see some company laying down a 7, 8, 9-figure purchase order for a bunch of stuff without ever talking to a salesperson. If it has significant impact to that company, without somebody's head being on the chopping block. Now, someone's probably going to say, you know something, Larry, I know this guy or this gal who sold this SaaS software thing they really never talked to anybody, and boom, this is what happened. Transactional salespeople, I believe, will be replaced. Sales professionals won't be replaced. And every industry that's out there has to interact with a salesperson at some point. They'll just interact with sales professionals and they'll weed the sales reps out. And selling from the heart, we call them empty suits. So yeah, empty suits will be replaced by technology.
I love that. Empty suits die off and the professionals really start to build the close relationships and have that human connection with the people that really value it the most. And I think you hit on something important, that buying a product is one thing, but you still haven't got the result of that product that you've bought. And if nobody's there to help or hold your hand or get you to the end, then it's a lonely road trying to figure out products all by yourself. Some salespeople are the experts that deliver those results.
No, 100%. Can I share a real world story? Would you allow me to?
Yeah,
and
go for it.
This plays out exactly what you just said. One of the sales channels that I do a lot of work in happens to be the hospitality industry here, at least I do a lot of it here in the US. And if I drill down into hospitality, I do a lot of work in food services, coaching food sellers.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of work in food service, equipment sales.
Okay.
I love it. I geek out in this channel. I just absolutely love it. And I happen to work with a very large, well-known food service supplier here in the United States. They're number 2 to the US's number 1 juggernaut.
Okay.
And here's what's interesting. The company that I coach, they're number 2. The number 1 company out there in the US that are food sellers starts with an S, ends with an O, and there's an ISCO in the middle of it. And so there's a point behind this. Their philosophy, the number 1's philosophy has been, we're going to leverage technology so our clients, our customers, can order all their food via technology. Okay. The number 2 provider says, from the CEO of the company all the way down. And they're about probably a Fortune 60, Fortune 70 company here in the US. Complete opposite. We're doubling down on the number of sellers, feet on the street. Yeah, we're going to leverage technology, but we're going to put ourselves face to face inside that restaurant to interact. We're going to get to the heart of what matters. They're growing leaps and bounds. People want to interact with people. They'll interact with technology. Heck, I interact with technology. You interact with technology. Both you guys interact with technology. But if I use this food-centric example for just a moment, there's a reason why people would rather deal with technology over having a conversation with someone if the person who walks into that restaurant brings absolutely zero value. They don't want to talk to people. I know this because I've asked. So sellers out there, regardless of what industry y'all are calling into, if you bring absolutely zero value, not what you think value is, but what they think value is, if you bring absolutely zero value to the forefront, you're not building a genuine, authentic relationship. You're not bringing an experience like none other, and you're not disciplined with it, you will find yourself being replaced by technology, by a sales professional, you name it. You will find yourself replaceable.
Larry, what just came up for me is adding value post-sale. That's a huge opportunity for so many salespeople that, yes, we can get the sale, but there's an opportunity after the sale's done to make sure that, everybody's happy with it, with what they got. Technology rarely does that and is able to solve problems when something comes up. So what a huge opportunity and value people can offer their clients.
It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
It does not take much. It does not take much to bring meaningful value. You got to ask. I'm a simple guy. I grew up with a father who was a rocket scientist for United States Air Force. Brainiac, absolute brainiac. But I grew up with a highly relational mom, and I smashed both those together. I said, I'm going to bring relationships to the forefront, but I'm going to bring some smarts to the forefront that I learned from my father. And I'm a high clarity guy, so I always love getting clarity on things. So I brought how I was raised by my parents along with clarity, and I brought this to the forefront. And I'm not ashamed to ask a bunch of questions and ask for help. And all I did, and by the way, I sold photocopiers in Los Angeles for 30 years. Probably one of the most highly commoditized things you can possibly ever sell, right? I mean, dog eat dog, race to the bottom. I mean, I thought I've seen it all and then some, right? Until something else happens in that copier channel. I got to slam it, but it was a time of my life because it provided for me, my family. I raised my kids doing it. I had 3 copier dealerships and so forth. But what's the reason why I bring this up is I got into arguments all the time with my business partners. I had a really unique position. I was business partners, but I was also their top salesperson as well. Totally dysfunctional. I'd sit in P&L meetings, but then I'd also have to go out in the field and grow sales. And they would always get on my backside. Larry, why are you spending so much time with our customers? You got to set an example. You got to be out there prospecting. You got to be doing all these things. I said, I am. I believe this. You grow your sales through your customers, not at the expense of your customers. And so I would be asking them questions like, what's meaningful value to you? What's a great experience look like? When's the last time somebody's provided you a great experience? And I'd humble myself and I'd be in vulnerable positions because sometimes, you know what? They may not say me, but it gave me the opportunity to learn. There's a point behind all of this. If you're in sales and you want to increase revenue, and if you want to increase profit, it ties directly to the experience and value that you bring. And I learned this the hard way in sales. And what I'm getting ready to say, I can guarantee you this. Salespeople have felt this. I felt it as well. I had a hard time putting profit in deals. I had a very hard time putting profit in deals. And I was always having these price-driven conversations, and I would always sharpen my pencil, and I'd always be willing to lower my cost. I felt, man, if I put a bunch of profit in this thing, I'm going to get exposed. Price is going to be too high. Guys, I know you know where I'm going with this because we've all faced it somewhere in our sales career. Until one day, I figured it out by asking questions with my clients. They would pay handsomely for someone to bring meaningful business value and an experience like none other. Freaking light bulbs clicked. And I go, after the sale, I'm going to bring them an experience like none other because I know no one in the copier industry is doing this. And I doubled down on it and had a direct tie-in to increased profit. That's where I knew people would pay for an experience. There's a direct tie into this, but yet no one's coaching salespeople on people skills, relationship building skills, and how to bring in an experience like none other, which I believe salespeople are responsible for.
Larry, I knew this was going to be a good episode, but listeners, go back and just hit rewind to the last couple minutes. You just dropped so much great stuff in there, and you're talking to two copier guys, Larry.
Yes. That's so good.
Steve,
there we go. When I dropped copier, I saw Steve's eyes. They just went, "Whoa, dude, what's going on?" Yeah, that's so. I will tell you this. I started selling copiers right out of college.
Yep.
I graduated college 1987, started right shortly thereafter into 1988, and I stayed in it until 2015.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Larry, I want to, yeah. I want to jump into some of those smarts that you talked about because they're in your book. And there was one quote just covered in hot sauce. So I want to point it out to our listeners because I circled it in the book. So it says this: weak salespeople point fingers and deflect, while sales professionals find out what they did wrong and they fix it. Can you just elaborate for our listeners a little bit more about that? I think it's so important.
Yeah, it's the deflection game's alive and well. And I'll peel this thing back, but I have to share this, and these are mirror moments when I say, pointing fingers. Here's what I know about the mirror. I don't care where the mirror sits, anywhere in the globe, anywhere in the world, is all the same. The mirror never lies. Only the person looking into the mirror lies.
Yeah.
Okay? Stop and think about that one for a second. The reason why you lost a deal wasn't because of price. It wasn't because somebody on your team dropped the ball, failed to get the email out, whatever excuse you all want to come up with. The reason why you lost a deal is you. Plain and simple. That's a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. I learned that a long time ago because I was the one in my younger days, in my 20s, selling copiers. I was the one who was pointing fingers. And it doesn't get you anywhere. It literally doesn't get you anywhere. And that's why, I write about in Selling from the Heart. I write about in Selling in a Post-Stress World. You got to be willing to do the inner work. You got to eat humble pie, and you got to learn how to eat humble pie often. Humble pie tastes good if you can then take it and do something with it. But you got to look back and say, you know what? What could I have done better? What was it that I didn't do? Maybe in the very beginning of the interaction that I had with this person, I didn't bring all the people together that should have been brought together in the beginning. And I got a surprise at the tail end of all of this. Maybe we all didn't gain agreement on actual next steps. And I thought these were the next steps, and they weren't, because there was a sales professional that came over here who asked those necessary questions, who got agreement from everyone, who asked actionable and agreeable next steps, who collaborated along the way with everybody. But because I didn't do that, that's why I lost the deal. It wasn't because my team member dropped the ball or I couldn't get the right pricing from somebody or whatever else y'all want to come up with. You lost that deal because you lost the deal. End of story, end of story, end of story.
I like this thread, Larry. Oftentimes I find people ignore the losses. And way back when I was selling copiers, and I would track my losses. I would know what my ratio was. I would try to understand the losses that I had and try to figure out how to reduce the number. I knew I was going to have them, but where and how can I make those improvements? And I think that's a lost art. Everybody's just focused on the wins. Everybody's just busy patting each other on the back, and they don't look or understand how they can make improvements on those deals. And to your point, right? Eat that humble pie and say, yeah, I could have done that. Yeah, I could have done that. Maybe that would have been a little bit better.
Oh, here's what's interesting. I got to go both. There's two tangents I got to play off of what you just said, Steve. Check this out. How many times do salespeople go back to their wins and they start peeling this thing back and they come back, right? Again, I'm paraphrasing all of this. Just picture this all in your head because this is playing out every single day in the sales world. Salespeople get a deal, right? They're all high-fiving and all that, right? Sales leader goes, hey, can you go back to, that company? Just do a debrief with them, find out why you won the deal. So they probably go out, right? They go out and find out what they won the deal. They're only probably paying attention to really a couple things. They come racing back to the office. Hey, guess what? The reason why we lost the deal, man, the pricing we'd put together was smoking. We had great price. They liked a couple little bells and whistles. Now I'm keeping this thing simple, but everyone who's listening or watching, y'all know where I'm going with this. It's happening every single day. And then it takes a third party then to go out there and ask that client, well, why'd you really give that person that deal? And you get a whole different story, right? On the win side. We see it all the time because we do case study analysis here at Selling from the Heart. We'll ask, right? Hey, why does that customer keep coming back to you? Why do they keep buying from you? And they give you an answer, but yet when you go talk to their customers, they give you a completely different answer on why they're actually buying from them, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. But now, how about if you lose a deal? Most salespeople, when they lose a deal, they really don't understand why they lost the deal. And even if they go back and ask, it's usually some scripted questions they got from their company that you need to ask. But why don't you just lay the cards out on the table and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to use your name, Steve, on this one. You know what, Steve? I know you gave this deal to, a great salesperson named Daniel Burns over at ABC Company. I know Daniel's going to take really good care of you. But I was just curious, is there anything I could have done differently? Could I have done something better? And again, no holds bar on this. I want you to be as transparent and open as possible. By the way, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I sold copiers in Los Angeles for 30 years, so my skin's pretty thick. My blood's not red. My blood is black, right? But you get where I'm going with this?
Yep.
There is so much you can learn from your clients as a salesperson if you simply set aside your ego and your bravado. You become transparent and you become vulnerable and you ask. I said this, I write about it in both books. You can get a PhD. You can literally get a PhD for next to nothing as a salesperson in business smarts. If you ask your clients why they continue to do business with you and what you're doing, why do they keep buying from you? What words would they use to describe the interactions? And you can learn something like none other in the losses. But we usually tuck our tail on the losses and we use the excuse, price was too high. Price was too high. Price was too high. Price was too high. My 2 cents.
Mm-hmm. Maybe time for another job. But anyway, the question I have for you, I want to go back on the relationship part. So that kind of keyed up something for you. and you talk about it in the relationship funnel. And I want to go a little bit deeper to that because too often you hear, oh, I got a great relationship with that buyer, and I've got a great relationship with that account. Yet, to your point, if you were to actually examine it or talk about it, you wouldn't get a lot from that. So what are the levels? There's got to be levels inside that, or to your point, a relationship funnel. Can you go a little bit deeper on that one?
Yeah. I'm a massive believer in this, that again, if you want to have a full set, I don't care what channel y'all call in. It doesn't really matter. If you want to have a full sales funnel, you got to build a full relationship funnel. And just think of like an 8, like the number 8. It's a big crazy 8. They flow into each other. The strong, right? And it's so interesting on this. I really believe, and I see it until somebody can prove me wrong on this. Weak sales funnels have a direct correlation to weak relationship building skills. 100%. And so now think about this. Think about all the buyers, right? I'm asking salespeople and sales leaders to think through this with me for just a moment. Think about the markets you're calling into, whatever product or solution y'all are selling. And I want you to think about all the decision makers and influencers that are in that deal right now, that you all have to build relationships with. Here's the question. I'm just going to throw a number out. Let's just say, I'm going to go on the low side because it's just the first number that came to my head. Let's just say there's 3 key decision makers and influencers that are in this deal that you have to build a relationship with. And by the way, a relationship is not buying them lunch and taking them to a sporting event and giving them company swag. That's not building a relationship. A relationship is this. What are 3 things you know about these people personally and professionally? What not-for-profit organizations do they support? What are their hobbies? If they have kids, what are their kids' names? What's their birthdays? What are their goals, initiatives, dreams, aspirations? Where do they see themselves 3 months from now? Where do they see their business 12 months from now? And you got to do this for everybody. And by the way, which means you may have to go first. Hey, by the way, Daniel and Steve, you know what? As I see this, I believe success happens when I contribute to a greater cause. And some of the things that I envision, me doing in the next 6 months to 12 months are helping my clients become even better, helping them grow their business, introducing my network into them. Hey, I'm just curious. What are some of your goals? What are some of your dreams and aspirations for you here at? That's getting in deep. Mark my word, you will start building trusted relationships. I don't see people doing this because they go, I don't know if I can pull this off. And it's the stories in our head become the stories of our life. And we as salespeople, we play mental gymnastics better than most gymnasts do gymnastics. And we think of all the reasons why we can't do this as opposed to all the reasons why we can. Here, I just got to share this, is when I coach salespeople, I have them ask the uncomfortable questions. That's to me how you build trust-based relationships. You ask the tough questions. You ask the questions nobody's asking. And if you want to achieve the results in sales that no one's achieving, you have to be willing to ask the questions no one is asking. I'll give you one. I'm going to drop your listeners one.
Nice.
And this is some Frank's Red Hot sauce stuff. And yeah, I'm giving away some secret sauce here. I'm telling you this. Mark my word. If you ask this question, there's gold that will follow. It's as simple as this. I'll use your name, Steve. Steve, I've absolutely enjoyed building our relationship. By the way, thank you for allowing me to serve you here at ABC Company. It means a lot, and I look forward to many years of working together. But I do know this. And it's unfortunate. When it comes to trust, there's not many people out there that trust salespeople, and that concerns me. Because my commitment to you is to build a trust-based business relationship with you here. That being said, how would you define trust, Steve? What does it look like? What words would you use to describe trust? And how do you know you're in a trusted business relationship? Stop.
Boom.
You don't, well, Steve, you're not going to answer, but you get where I'm going with this.
No.
Now, I have salespeople that will give me every excuse in the book not to do it. And I said, all you got to do is one. Just please, just do one. Because you can't get to two unless you do one. Just do it one time. And I promise you, this is what's going to happen next. Your client's going to say, you know what? No one's ever asked me that question before. Now do it with a prospect. And the prospect is going to say, you know what? No one's ever asked me that before. As they open Pandora's box on you.
Yep.
And they tell you exactly what's on their heart, exactly what's on their mind. And now you have just been elevated to the front of the line. And now this is what happens. And this is a rider downer for everybody. They benchmark you. Think of the word benchmark. Write down the word benchmark if you're listening or watching this. They will benchmark that conversation and that interaction against every other conversation they have with a salesperson. Mark my word, all of a sudden they will open up. The next time you go back, watch what happens again. They will tell you things. These are the business secrets. You got to be willing to ask. This is gold stuff. They will tell you. I know. A, because I ask, because I eat my own cooking. B is I coach my sellers and the companies I work with to go do this. They got to come back and tell me. We gather virtually and they tell me. And you know what soon happens? Salesperson's confidence increases. Their believability increases. Their self-worth increases. Their client relationships strengthen. They walk with, they walk with a sense of swagger, right? They're not walking with their head down anymore. It's all the way up, right? Eyes are bright. They're wide open. They bring passion back just by simply asking some of these questions.
And I'd correct you that it's not really an uncomfortable question. It feels uncomfortable, but it's not.
It feels uncomfortable
because it just gets right to the connection, and that just brings you a little bit closer together.
100%. And see here, and this is why salespeople love asking the questions that it's the same questions. They already can anticipate the comments that are going to come out. The real answers come from the questions nobody asks. And you got to be willing to ask them. And maybe it's because I'm a high clarify guy, so I love asking a ton of questions. But what's really interesting, awkward questions that many people think are awkward, man, they're gold. Mm-hmm. But here's what's going to happen. One of two things are going to happen. There's going to be dead silence. They're going to ask, well, why are you asking me? Or they're going to give you the God's honest truth. When they ask you, why are you asking me this? That's code for, oh man, I know you're asking me because right after you ask me, you're going to drop a sales question on me. You're disguising all of this stuff for the next 20 minutes because you got a freaking special that your boss wants you to drop on all your customers. So you got to soften the blow a little bit. No, if you keep doing this and you keep doing this and you keep doing this, I'm going to tell you this, you're going to uncover so much opportunity. That sales funnel is going to be full because you've built a full relationship funnel. You're asking the questions no one's asking and you're getting the responses that no other salesperson is getting.
Well, here's what I love about what you just said, Larry, and I want to come back to it because I think it's brilliant. You mentioned about stories, and the one that I hear all the time is that it's on both sides, buyer and seller. It's just business. Larry. It's not personal. And that I don't want to go there because I don't want to get personal because it's uncomfortable for me. But that's just a story. When you do make that connection, I think you're right. It goes to a new level and you become the benchmark. And I want to point out what I think I'm putting at the first clip of this podcast because I absolutely loved it. I want to pluck it out and bring it back to our listeners because they might have missed it. Weak sales funnels are a result of weak relationship builders. That just hits home with me. I love it.
Yeah, And I'm telling you, if there are executives that are out there, if there are CEOs that are out there, if there's presidents of companies that are out there, if there's sales leaders out there that are watching this or listening to this fantastic conversation we're having right now, I want you to think about the people skills and relationship building skills of your salespeople. There's a reason why more than half the sales teams out there are not at or above budget. There's a reason for that. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's not because they have poor closing skills. It's not because they have poor discovery skills. I'm giving everyone the benefit of the doubt on this. You have let your salespeople down because you're not coaching them on people skills and relationship building skills in a world that doesn't trust salespeople, doesn't view them as being credible. Yet you always want to say people do business with people they know, like, and trust, that you're never coaching your salespeople on how to expand upon this and how to become better. They will become better humans if you pour into them people and relational skill sets. How do I know this? That's what we do here at Selling from the Heart. And that's why the companies we're working with are driving monumental revenues and profits, increasing their cross-sell opportunities with their customers because they're getting to the heart of what matters. No pun on the book, but they're getting to the heart of what matters. They're bringing trust and credibility to the forefront. They're making their clients or customers feel so comfortable with them that they become comfortable enough to share their business secrets. Think about that. It's not another whiz-bang training on how to close more business. It's not another whiz-bang one-time training event on how to increase your discovery skills. It's not a one-time whiz-bang training event on how to prospect for new business. It's a lifestyle you as a leader must bring into your organization to coach and continually coach with discipline the people skills and relationship building skills of your salespeople. You do that and you're consistent with it day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, quarter in, quarter out, year in, year out. You do this and you play the long game with it. Watch what happens to your revenue and profits as your clients are going, I want more of this. I want more of this. And then they 10X this and they go out and they tell all their other friends, I want some of that cooking. I want some of that crank.
We are cooking. We are cranking it up here. I want to dig into this question, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite questions to ask every guest that we've got on this podcast. So can you tell us about a time, Larry, where you had a bad buying experience? Like, have you ran into an empty suit? Like somebody that you thought, this person's sleazy, they're pushy, they're just everything we've talked about on the podcast. They're giving me the wrong vibe here. Can you tell us about an experience like that you had and maybe what you might do to coach that person or what they could have done to not lose the deal that when they ran into you?
So, yeah, I mean, this is humor 101, but it's, so earlier this year, we completely remodeled the inside of our house. I mean, knocked down walls, ripped out all the kitchen appliances, just basically everything inside of our house, all the way down to the studs, sealing out all of this. And I really don't know much about home remodeling. In fact, I can't even hang a picture on the wall straight. When it comes to putting stuff together, my wife does all of it because I have 2 left hands. So we decided that we were going to be our own. Sorry for the story, but y'all get used to it.
Go for it.
So we decided I'm going to be my own general contractor because a buddy of mine says he will walk me through all of this. Trust me. I won't let you down. It's not that hard. I will line up all of these people to come into your house. Okay, cool. First person that walks into the house. By the way, if contractors and subcontractors ever got sales skills training, they'd be really deadly, but they really lack it. But it's a story because it plays out. It plays out regardless of where you're at. First person walks in and he starts telling me, I think you need to do this. I think you need to do this. I think you need to do this. I think we need to tear down this wall and we need to insert a beam. And I think we need to do this. And we got to jackhammer all of this stuff. And my wife is just watching me just come unglued. And I said, I don't know the first thing about home remodel. I don't even know construction. But I do know this. You never bothered once to ask me any kind of questions on what we were doing, why we were doing it, what we wanted to accomplish, what's the end result, what do we really see, what's our envision for this remodel, knowing that we're going down the road of unknown, first time doing this. You walked in here because my buddy brought you in here. You failed to ask questions because it's my buddy. I'm sharing this with you because you all know where I'm going with this because this all's happened. Just take out the construction part of this. But that person, because my friend brought this person in, he assumed that he already knew what was going on and all that, which is so far from the truth. The point being is this. They never really asked me any of the questions or really get to the heart of what we're doing. I called these people out on the carpet on it and tail between the legs. Yeah, it's a real story. It just happened earlier this year. It started January of 2024. We finished this whole thing in May. We wound up having to do it ourselves with people that we found that asked the questions. Yeah. So in sales, here's what I wanted to leave everyone with. If you're asking only surface level questions and you're assuming that you know what's going on, don't be surprised when they ask you to exit stage door right. Mm. You got to ask the questions. And these are, I call these forward thinking, right? Hey, why are you doing this? What's this look like? When this project is complete, how are you going to feel? What's it going to look like? How can I help you get there? What do I need to do to help you? What do I need to do to make you feel comfortable? How can I put you at ease knowing this is the first time you've been doing this? See where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
And salespeople, you can do that by just simply out caring people, setting aside your stuff. It's not about you. I get everyone to think about this. And it doesn't have to be this way. What would it be like if you entered every conversation that you had with somebody and you entered it with high intention and low attachment? Think about that. Mm-hmm. Most sellers walk into every conversation they're having with somebody with high intention and high attachment. And when you walk in with high intention and high attachment, they're going to smell commission breath. That person walked in with high intention. He did want to help. High attachment because my buddy brought him in. And he failed to ask all the necessary questions. And thus, he got called out on the carpet. What happens if you walk into every conversation with high intention? You're there to serve. You're there to listen, shine the light on them, understand what they want to accomplish. And then the conversation goes where the conversation goes, and you detach from the outcome. That is hard. And people are going to listen to this go, I don't buy into any word you're saying right now. So be it, your prerogative. Again, I had to learn this the hard way. Still, I got a prospect for new business like you folks got a prospect for new business, and anyone who listens to it. But I enter every conversation I have with somebody. I pour my heart out to them. I'm high intention. I detach from the outcome because I know if I pour myself to them and I shine the light on them, they open up and they lead me right to the promised land.
That's a great story. I'm definitely smelling what you're cooking, because I think that is the hallmark of many of my bad buying experiences, that mortal sin of they just didn't ask any questions and then just started throwing up all the expertise. And it is all about them at that point. And you know nothing about my needs, all the things I'm here to get from you. You're just so excited to just dump everything so that you can feel good in this buying situation, but it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
So Larry, Oh, go ahead, Steve. Jump in.
No, I love your genuine curiosity, right? It's just very heartfelt. It's a genuine interest in building that relationship. And I'm curious to know, in your new book, is there one or two things in there that you haven't shared with our listeners that you want to kind of bring to their attention, and a good reason to pick up the book?
Hey, by the way, thanks for asking. I touched on it in an indirect way about halfway through our conversation, but it's I believe this. My second book, I think runs circles around selling from the heart. I really do. I mean, I love selling from the heart. That was my baby. But selling in a post-trust world takes selling from the heart and it amplifies it 10 times. Just real briefly, I think the heart of the whole book is centered around the trust formula.
Okay.
And I believe this book is transformational. For those who want to read it, again, it's your choice. If you read this, if you're a seller, I promise you this, it will transform your sales career. If you're not in sales and you read this book, it will transform your career. I will tell you this. I'm an active Kiwanian here in the city that I live in, which is community service-based organization like Rotary. Kiwanis is worldwide. I'm sure Kiwanis and Rotary are in the cities and towns you all live in Canada. I had some of my Kiwanis friends read this book that are retired. And they go, this made me a better person. And it's around 4 things. I'll just have everyone just real briefly. I want y'all to think about this. If you want to build trusted relationships out there, and I know y'all do, if you want to build trusted business relationships, if you want to build trusted personal relationships, it's up to you to do something about it. And it's about building authentic relationships and combining it with meaningful value. You have to bring both to the forefront. If you want to amplify this, if you want to jet fuel this, if you want to throw your secret sauce on this, it's inspirational experiences. That's how you show up. I'm going to ask us all to think. Let's just think together for a moment. How am I showing up for my clients? How am I showing up for my prospects? How am I showing up for my employer? How am I showing up for my friends? Y'all are responsible for this. And the last thing, the glue to all of this, is disciplined habits. The thing that most humans just really stink at. Discipline. If you want to bring authentic relationships, meaningful value, and inspirational experience like none other to the forefront, you got to be disciplined with this. You got to be consistently consistent. But in a world of inconsistency, consistency's king and queen. And for all you sellers out there, the reason why you have all these issues that go on, and you all know what I mean by issues, air quotes, is you're consistently inconsistent in all the things that I just shared with you. You're consistently inconsistent in prospecting. You're consistently inconsistent in building relationships. You're consistently inconsistent in bringing meaningful value. You're consistently inconsistent in bringing any experience to the forefront. And Lord knows You're consistently inconsistent with bringing discipline to the forefront. Bring self-accountability to the forefront. Hold yourself radically accountable. Bring all this to the forefront. The reason why you're not at budget, the reason why you didn't make more money last year than this year, it's not your company's fault that they did something to the comp program. It's not your sales manager's fault. It's your fault. Double down on all 4 of those, and I promise you this, you will 2x your sales results.
Nice. Well, I'm glad
That's what you'll get if you read the book.
I'm glad I showed up for this interview because it's been phenomenal. Love the touch on trust. Love the book. You nailed it in terms of why I should pick up the book. So thanks. Is there? How can people get a hold of you otherwise?
Thank you. If you want to find out what we're all up to at Selling from the Heart, you can go to sellingfromtheheart.net. You can find what I think is a terrific podcast on YouTube. I'm not too hard to find. You can find me all over LinkedIn. And then last but not least, if you really want to get some pearls of wisdom dropped to your phone, you can pick up your phones, text message the word trust, TRUST, to 21,000, and you'll get all kinds of goodies sent your way directly to your phone. Hey, by the way, fellas, thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
I hope everyone who's watched or listened to this has gotten some pearls of wisdom and some nuggets. Thank you for entrusting me with your audience. You guys are great.
There you ended the show with the mic drop moment, and you looped it all back to that word that you gave us in the secret ingredients, educate. So listeners, go grab Larry's book, Selling in a Post-Trust World. Go listen to the podcast, Selling from the Heart podcast. And Larry, I think you've set a new bar here for season 4. I think you brought us the hot sauce and you made it spicy.
Hey, it's all good. I do have one question. This was great. I had a blast. You guys are awesome. But I do have one question for both of you.
Okay.
And here's the question. You ready?
Okay.
How do I get some of that crank coffee?
This is a trend, Steve. Everybody wants the crank coffee now.
Just we'll get your address, Larry. You will receive it.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I'll wave the flag here in Southern California as I'm drinking a cup of coffee and everyone goes, where the hell did you get that one from? Then it's a story to tell.
Do you like a dark roast? Do you like an espresso? What do you like?
Espressos.
Okay. Nice, strong, bold.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I promise you this. If I get some, I will promote it like crazy, and I'm gonna make the best grande Americano here. I'm gonna take some crank espresso. I'm gonna add a little bit of hot water to it. I'm gonna mix that bad boy up. It's gonna be good.
We're gonna have you cranking it up, Larry, because today you have helped us solve the sales problem. You gave our listeners some new knowledge they need to thrive and succeed. You helped them grow by enhancing what they know. Listeners, remember, Steve and I, we love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And if you've learned from the podcast today, send it to a friend, somebody who needs to listen. Send it anywhere across the globe. And until the next episode, just keep building the best version of you. Thank you.